Hey, FlimsyLunchTray here, and welcome to World of Warships. Today I'm going to be doing a play-by-play analysis in Bronze League and Ranked. And honestly, like, this is an amazingly awesome game, but there are mistakes that are made. I make a pretty big mistake that's ultimately what costs the game, about 13 minutes and 45 seconds mark. And then the other mistakes are my teammates. I'm going to call out when they all each make a mistake. I don't actually remember how a submarine dies, because I rewatched this footage like multiple times to understand what the hell happened. Because this is a game I posted on YouTube already in terms of the post-battle results. I'm going to lose this game, but it's going to end up being a super close game, even though you're not going to think it is by the time we get close to the halfway through the battle. To start off here, I took Odin because I wanted to have Hydro, because I kept having damn submarines every game, pardon my language. The thing that's so infuriating about ranked with submarines is that you can have, it's either or. You either have a crap submarine player or you have a really good submarine player. There's no balance in terms of submarine players in this game. And so the enemy submarine player is actually really good, annoyingly good. And I don't know what happens with our submarine player. I kept having matches where the enemy team kept having really excellent submarine players, and then I kept landing teams with bad submarine players. I don't know about submarine. The thing about when I do these play-to-play analysis, it's understanding you have to take ownership for when you make mistakes. And I make two big mistakes this game. This is the first one. I know that there's a submarine that's capping here on B. I got really annoyed with Baltimore because Baltimore popped his radar right as the submarine is about to finish capping. And the turning maneuverability is so good on the submarine, he actually circled that small island and came back. I thought he went away, so I thought I was fine to sit there. And I actually wasn't, because his turning circle radius is even better than what it used to, because Wargaming decided in their infinite wisdom to buff it. So I make a mistake there. I eat some damage that I shouldn't have eaten. Baltimore was really slow on the radar, so I couldn't reset the sub sooner. Our Iparanga to the north has decided to sail broadside for the whole time that there's two Tirpitzes to the north. As soon as you see two brawling battleships and you're a brawling battleship, you need to take a kiting stance. And he doesn't. When he decides to turn out, he rams the island there on D3. Our Orkin decided to come out from behind the island. He was very close to getting the cap, but come out from behind the island, and he got in that gun engagement with the Angela Merkel. That's what I just call that destroyer. And he loses a lot of health. All said and done, he does get the cap, which is great. In the meantime, our Baltimore should be going forward because the Tirpitz are circling around to the side. So he needs to be putting that big island, that's right to his left, in between him and the Tirpitzes. They're more of a threat than the mains is in front of him, but he's already lost a lot of health because he keeps broadsiding. He broadsided enemy ships back here behind, and he's broadsiding both the Tirpitzes. So there's just a lot of mistakes that happen. We're going to lose a lot of teammates really fast in this game, so that's kind of why I'm focusing a bit on that. So Iparanga goes down. We're stepping on the B. We actually are in a really good position between the Brandenburg and myself and the Odin, both German brawling battleships, to take on the North Carolina. The Brandenburg throws out torps from his starboard side really early, and then he's going to give a whole port broadside to the North Carolina, which is ultimately going to get him killed. And also that he doesn't respect that there's a submarine that's been spotted back here, so he's going to eat a lot of torps for that as well. As we lose the Baltimore now because he decided to stay broadside to two Tirpitzes. And so he goes broadside, and with North Carolina's 16-inch guns, he's able to punish him. Now, while Hydro is down, and I'm soon going to make a big mistake. I'm going to take ownership for how I F up in this game, too. So we're still spamming a lot of the air depth charge strikes. There's the mains there as well. I'm going to put my secondaries on him, because what I'm going to do, I'm using the Brandenburg's body, if you will, to try to do this broadside move. I might lose a lot of health, but I'm going to have to do this because the kiting torpedo angles are really good on North Carolina. And he's pinned there. He can't go anywhere. So we're able to get the kill. this is where I make a big mistake. I should have waited for my Hydro to come off cooldown, because I decide I'm going to make the risk. I'm going to go broadside and re-enter the cap because I want to cap it. I pull a brain dead move there because the enemy submarine is banking on that, and I was expecting him to keep pinging me, and he's not, so I'm like under this false assumption that I'm fine. And he uses the non-homing torpedoes to land the torpedoes that hit harder. I'm pretty sure those are what those are. And so I lose a ton of health here. So I'm like, I just realized I effed that up. I should have waited. When I was going back through the footage, I realized it would have been a lot smarter for me to continue to kite out, activate the Hydro. I would have seen those torpedoes, and then I could decide when it's safe to turn back in. But I didn't. So I really, this is what ends up ultimately costing the game here in terms of my mistakes. And the two things I could have done better, because both times the mistakes I made, I was underestimating the submarine player, and he's actually quite talented, and I wasn't respecting that. So that's definitely on me, and not making like the big super unicum play, if you will. So I'm looking at his torpedoes, trying to figure out why I got hit so hard, and I'm like, oh, I think it's the I'm comparing between our subs and enemy subs. And I'm like, yeah, I think I got hit with the non-homing torpedoes or whatever. So now it is 3v4. We're waiting here, and I have 3 repair parties still. So I'm debating if I want to use another repair party, even though it won't be a full health, a full repair that I get. But I decide, because of where we're at in the game, I've got 2 German brawling battleships, and I've got a DD coming back in addition to a pesky sub, that I'm going to need as much health as I can get. I haven't fought these 2 Tirpitz players, so I don't know what their skill is. We get really lucky with our Orkan. He actually makes a really good call there, and he uses his radar. The radar catches the submarine player off guard, and so we're able to pick up the kill on the submarine player. So that was really good of him. He's only made 1 mistake, I would say, so far, in just that he traded a lot of health and unnecessarily coming out from behind the island at A. But then he's going to make another mistake later, which is a bit unfortunate. Because our kiting angles are so good, if you're a brawling battleship in ranked randoms, you typically want to be in a position where you're kiting out from the other enemy brawling battleship, secondary focused. You're able to mitigate a lot less damage, you present a lot smaller of a target, and since he's going behind the island, I decide that I can afford to use my damage control party there, as I've spammed multiple torpedoes now. So note, he knows I have torpedoes. Okay, we fired 2 racks at him. He knows I have torpedoes. Keep that in mind for later. So I popped my spotter plane here. Usually I do fighter in ranked, but I didn't realize I had the spotter plane, so I just like, okay, I'll just use spotter here, because I want to lob the island here and get a broadside salvo in on this enemy Tirpitz. What I have to do at this point, as we pick up the high caliber after having the double strike, is I have to play as cheeky as possible, because I don't have hit points to play with. Both the Tirpitz have a much larger hit point advantage over me. They can afford to spend a lot of hit points working to take me out. Now, no, I just looked at the Orkan. He has 27 hit points. Watch what Orkan does, okay? He makes a mistake here. So I'm hoping maybe I can get another salvo off here. Tirpitz fighter plane, it keeps spotting me. So I'm like, crap, I can't kind of turn out. I'll just randomly take a shot, see if I touch and hit anything. If you look at the mini-map on B, you can see that other Tirpitz's spotter plane is flying up in a circle. They fly in a circle around your location. So Orkan, he doesn't know where the Tirpitz is, but there's a spotter plane on the mini-map circling that enemy Tirpitz's location. Orkan decides, you know, we have the B cap, I should step back onto the B cap, even though an enemy ship player was just located there a minute ago. And enemy Tirpitz was reversing back in, immediately dies and losing his health. I could have used his help here at C in dealing with the DD. Look how low the enemy destroyer is. He's only like 700 hit points. That would have been very helpful. Now I kind of debated here in reviewing this footage, should I have used my torpedoes on that side rack there? And I'm like, you know, I don't have many hit points to play with. I have to try to get as much damage as possible. Anything will help. So then I decided to make a widespread there. What I don't predict is what the enemy Tirpitz player here in Bravo Cap is going to do. We've angled out. We take really no damage there. This enemy Tirpitz player decides he's going to reverse all the way into B to shoot me and launch his torpedoes. If I had not used the starboard side port rack, the right side, I actually could have used them against him here in the cap. But thankfully Odin has a pretty quick reload, so spoiler alert, we are going to be able to get torpedoes off again on him. Now this isn't a good position for me because but it's the only thing I got to work with. Like, I wouldn't change how I ended up positioning here because I want my secondaries to be firing on both Tirpitzes, even though, yes, I'm showing a quite of a large profile. I can't go further forward because both Tirpitzes have fired torpedoes at me, predicting I was going to go further and move further back than what my position is right now. So I get torps off on the other enemy Tirpitz in B. He underestimates me because my health is so low that he thinks he's fine. He doesn't predict that my torpedoes, I don't know if he thought my reload wasn't, was sucked. So he thinks he's fine there. Now I use my DCP because the fire I originally had would have already killed me by now. But I'm really unlucky here because the secondaries from that Tirpitz immediately sets me on fire as soon as my DCP goes down right before he dies. So I would have died sooner if I hadn't used the DCP the first time. So it really sucks that we weren't able to hang in there. And then I fired that last salvo hoping maybe the enemy DD decided to step further up into the cap. He waited there. That enemy DD player played it super smart. He had no need to put himself in a vulnerable situation with what health he had remained. So he did really good. He's the one who saved the enemy team from throwing the game. So that's the double strike, close quarters, Kraken Unleashed, was it high caliber, and then 181,000 damage. We get 5 kills, the only one on our team who did any kills, sad face, with 1800 base XP despite the loss, really good. And then we took 94,000 damage, 1.6 million potential, our secondaries did 41,000, our torpedoes did 35,000, we did 18,000 with fires and then 80,000 with the main battery, so a lot of damage was spread out there, and then you can see how much damage the enemy ships took. And then this is what it looks like with premium account. So a lot happens so fast in ranked, it's hard to do like a post-commentary play-by-play analysis. The fun of being able to look back on this battle, since it just happened 2 days ago as this video goes up, is that I really like recording my games, and then even if I don't post them on YouTube, if I feel like I made some mistakes or the game was really close, I'll go back and watch, and what I do is I first critique myself. What could have I done better? That's really what helps you become better as a player in the game, is if you're open for criticism, even if it's for, from teammates. If you make a bad call, then I just own it. You own it in chat or whatever. But here I get to critique myself and say, hey, I really underestimated that submarine player. I forgot how good his rudder shift was, that he could simply circle that island. Like, I thought he was leaving, but he came right back in so quick. Like, that totally caught me off guard. So we ate 2 torpedoes there. And then not waiting for my hydroacoustic search, because it was coming off cooldown. And I should have paid attention to that cooldown time and said, hey, there's a submarine threat. He seems like he's a pretty good player. Let's kite out until the hydro comes back in, and then when we know it's safe, then we'll turn back in. I could have carried the game if I hadn't made that mistake and was so impatient to get back into the cap. Honestly, a lot of the mistakes that I see players make in the game, it's like, we can be impatient. But the other thing, like this game, was just players broadsiding. The Baltimore broadsided twice and then died, and not defending himself, protecting himself from the Tirpitzes at the end. Iparenga stayed broadside to 2 Tirpitzes, then Notsered into an island. Reversed out, tried to run away, but it's too late. He's dead. When he could have kept a better job at keeping more of an arm's length with the secondary battery there. Our destroyer player not paying attention, not considering that Tirpitz player still might be sitting on B, even if he's not in the cap. The spotter plan on the minimap gave it away that Tirpitz player was still there. And I still missed how our submarine player died. I need to go back and watch the footage on that. So that's really unfortunate. He might have been pinging too much, and then the North Carolina must have gotten lucky with depth charge airstrikes or whatever. So yeah, So that's the game. So, it was so close. I'll put a video here at the end. I actually carried a ranked with the Prince Heinrich once. It was a 77 ranked, and I killed all 7 of the enemy players, as my team was able to take any with them when they died. So I was so on edge of my seat. This was a really good game. Yes, it can be frustrating with your own mistakes that you make or with your teammates at times, but this was a really good game. I was really loving it. And unfortunately, we just, RNGesus said no when we got caught a fire. And so we didn't get more of a chance, perhaps, to kind of deal with that enemy destroyer player. But, you know, I think the enemy destroyer player, even if I would have survived, he still had a chance of getting the kill off on me before I could perhaps kill him in turn. So anyhow, hats off to the MDD player. You did really good. Very good of you to stay patient there, and not put yourself in danger after you saw kind of what was happening. So really, really good play by you there. So if you liked today's play-by-play analysis, give a thumbs up. If you didn't, give a thumbs down. Subscribe if you want to see more. If you are subscribed, thanks so much. I appreciate it. Thank you to my Patreon supporters. Until next time, take care.